Most Feared has wrapped up, so was the promo a W or an L? What's good, everybody? What's going on? It's your boy Rob, aka Roboto. So today's video, we're gonna jump into our weekly recap of everything Madden 22 Ultimate Team. Today's video, we're gonna close out Most Feared, talk about what the program was to us, what it meant to us in our soul, and look ahead to potentially what we can expect here in November. But before we jump into any of that, just want to let you know, if you are new here, appreciate you for stopping by. Be so kind as to hit the subscribe button, a little notification bell so you're notified anytime I'm live right here, brand new content. And also make sure you hit the like button, thumbs up, smash that like button. And in the comment section down below, let me know what your favorite part of Most Feared was. Did you like house rules? Did you like the players? Did you like the solos? Did you like the packs? Let me know what your favorite part was. Maybe a specific release came out and you just loved it. Let me know what you think about Most Feared in the comment section down below. Let's jump into Most Feared and let's talk about some things that we might not want to see again. So we're here in the game, and I'm going to go ahead and jump off right now with the LTDs that are probably out of packs by the time you're watching this video. So the two players that were okay, so let's rewind, backtrack, go all the way back here. EA a couple weeks ago, as we know, put Andrew Luck in the game, right? Andrew Luck was put in the game, or he was put in as a, I guess, an art somewhere within the game, within the solos, and we'll probably check the solos out just to kind of show you where. But everybody was expecting Andrew Luck to come out. Unfortunately, it seems unless EA does something on, later this week on Monday or Tuesday or something, doesn't look like Andrew Luck's coming out. And I think it's kind of funny because now this is 2 years in a row. If you remember last year, we talked about this in the previous video. EA had a little thing where James Harrison was a silhouette player, and we looked into it too deep. We looked into it far too deep, and we all thought James Harrison was coming. Then EA went ahead and took him out just completely and just replaced it with a silhouette. This year was Andrew Luck's silhouette here, and I'll try to pop it up here in the game. You can see behind the X there. We looked at it previously, but basically that figure brightened up and zoomed in, spelled Luck. It was like a Colts helmet on there. But we went ahead and got the third part of Most Feared, which we'll go over, and we also got the LTDs on Sunday. Now, the two LTDs are Marshawn Lynch right here, halfback card, and we also got the quarterback Marcus Mariota. Now, you're probably screaming, "Oh my God, Raiders theme team again!" But the cool thing about these two dudes is that they get every theme team, right? And they also have alternate position for Marshawn. He gets fullback, alternate position. All X factors included with one ability, utilizing 0 AP. So basically, if you put an X factor on the dude, it doesn't cost any AP. It doesn't cost any training to put the ability on, and some of these abilities are applied to these dudes already baked in, I guess you could say, similar to MUT Superstars cards, like a Saquon Barkley that we had earlier in the year. I think Quinton Williams is a D tackle that a lot of people are still using, that has abilities already baked in, so it's kind of similar here. But again, they're only available for 24 hours, so if you haven't bought it by now, you're probably kind of stuck, because I went ahead and I bought I bought one Marshawn Lynch, and then I opened the level 90 overall pack. It came as like a Most Feared objective reward. I'll show you guys what I mean in a minute. But Marshawn Lynch came out of that pack too, so it was a super W. I got two Marshawns on the team. I'm holding them for now. He's on the team as a starting fullback, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to sell him for a nice little profit, right? I bought it at 120, so I'd like to go ahead and maybe sell that for at least 175, if not 200. Supply and demand says that his price should go up, but the tricky thing here is that he quick sells for 5,000 training, not coins, as a typical LTD would do. So interesting move here from EA, to say the least, right there on the limited time releases there. I think Marshawn's the better of the two if you're watching this late Sunday into Monday, but Marshawn's probably the best out of the two options there. So we'll go back here to the game real quick, and I'll show you guys what I mean. If we go ahead and check out the screenshot here that I took from earlier in the day, as you can see right here, it's the 90 overall Most Feared fantasy pack. Right there in the middle is Marshawn Lynch with Bush and Calvin Ridley there. They're not Nat, they're not NCAT, anything like that. And I got that pack by getting 13 objectives done out of this Most Feared objective list. Now, I know some of you might have got it done earlier, and I kind of was telling people, don't be so quick to get everything done so fast. It expires this week, 11/4/21. I have a lot of stuff 50% or higher, even some at 94, 95, 96%. So I'm close to finishing a bunch of stuff. I will say, to get some of these objectives done outside of the head-to-head things, the one thing I will suggest, and there probably is a better solo out there, and if you guys know a solo that's better to do this, but the one thing I would suggest is going through the Most Feared solos here, or I'm sorry, the Ultiverse of Terror. Now, if you've unlocked the Most Feared part that I did all the way through, and you're still playing the solos, and the Ultiverse of Terror, the second to where is it here? The Ultiverse of Terror. Yeah, so you go all the way down to Champion Challenges 3. Now maybe Champion Challenges 2 is similar. I don't remember off the top of my head, but this is just the one I played recently. You go down here to Champion Challenges 5, not the 6, but to 5. Put this on arcade, and basically you get a half to do whatever you want. So what I've been doing is play this, and I go ahead and I rack up a bunch of rush yards. I crack them on kickoff returns to get some fumbles. Racking up the main objective, I think, is getting 3 field goals. The other one I got doing this was 15 completions, and win the game 15 completions. There's another one for 200 yards. So there's a lot of ways you can kind of use this to rack up some stats. I know people want to do fast and quick and easy things. I think this one, Champion Challenges 5, is the one to do. You have a couple days still to do it, so I suggest doing this one here under the Ultiverse of Terror, under Champion Challenges 3, all the way down. That, not the last one, because that last one you play a big morphed quarterback. Don't play the last one, play the one right above it right there. So that's the one thing I would suggest. Now speaking of most feared here, I'll also touch on house rules, since that came out with part 3 of most feared. I know last week we didn't touch on it, but I liked last week's house rules a lot. This week, not so much. I'm not too much into it. I kind of just played it just to get the 2,000 points you need for the objective, but like, it kind of sucks. It's tug of war. You know, you score a touchdown, you get 50 points, so that's cool if you still need your 2,000 points for that objective, but like, it's 50 wins too for the 90 NCAT reward. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. Even if it is only 10 plays or 20 plays in total, if you play it all the way through. Too much. Tackles always force fumbles. X Factor's always on. I just think it's too much. I like last week's house rules a lot better than this week, so I don't think it's worth it, especially at this point. I mean, we've had about I think like 10 free 90s of some sort at this point, maybe even 12, not including this house rules one. I mean, all the free 90s that are out there, and like I said, the Marshawn, Lynch and Mariota should still be relatively cheap if you want those guys, and all the 90s are about like 100 to 120k. So there's a lot of free 90s out there to be had if you haven't gotten any by now. So that's my overall thought on house rules. I also don't like that the morphs are still like people are just relying too heavily. I played head to head, and people are relying way too heavily on these morphs to play head to head, and I understand it being working in house rules, and I think it's fun, but like head to head or even weekend league, like that's kind of pointless and dumb to me. But so we'll go over the newsletter. Now, a funny thing to note about the newsletter before we dive into it is that it actually leaked a couple days early. I think it leaked Thursday afternoon, I want to say, or Wednesday afternoon, one of the two, and basically revealed somebody went ahead and just retyped a different date here for the newsletter, and poof, there it was. There's the whole thing. We got the whole release for the Most Feared Part 3 and the Legends, so that was kind of a mini W during the week. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring that up, so shouts to whoever first popped that up. That was awesome. The only other thing out of this whole newsletter, I mean, so let's just actually fly through it. We'll fly through it here just because this is what we do usually. Chase Edmonds here, we kind of went over him last week, and all these dudes are pretty solid, so I'm not going to sit here and do anything crazy. If you haven't done it yet, play your solos and get Kyle Pitts, get Kyle Pitts for free. That's a good grab there. Al Woods here, heavyweights during the week. Nothing really to cry home about. I mean, like, these are all just solid linemen, right? Like, just parts of your team. If you need it for a theme team, Alex Singleton, middle linebacker, getting to heavyweights, kind of confusing, but whatever, it is what it is. You know, heavyweights aren't going to make or break your team for the most part. Limiteds here, James Robinson and Kenny Clark. James Robinson's actually pretty dang solid. I really like him a lot. And Kenny Clark here also pretty solid with that 94 block shed. Speed's a little low. Finesse moves a little low, but if you need a big, thick dude to plug a hole in the middle, Kenny Clark's your guy. The one thing I will note about LTD Thursdays here is that we're approaching the time where almost a good majority of the league, I think 16 teams by now should have their limited. So it comes down to the time where we're starting to pick out certain teams. I think my Giants still need a limited out of this, if I'm not mistaken. About the time where we start to try to, you know, put some pieces and puzzle pieces together, where we try to figure out who the next LTDs are. Remember, they're current day dudes for the most part, from everything I know, dudes still in the league at least. So just keep that in mind going forward. If your team hasn't got one yet, you know, it's approaching a time where it could be either an offensive or a defensive dude. And usually the other thing to note here too is that they like to pair them together, right? So running back here with a DT, we've seen wide receiver cornerback combos, we've seen linebacker quarterback combos. So just keep that all in mind as you go ahead and progress through the limiteds. That's my only thing I would say about these, just to keep that in mind going forward. We also got reduxes randomly. We talked about this last week, and I said the same thing as, like, you know, with the overalls go going up, I would suggest selling some Reduxes. So if you didn't sell any of these dudes by now, you might not have made a nice profit on it as much as you could have, because the Redux is out. But for the most part, we already saw these cards. We don't have to go over and wax poetic about anything in particular. Just know that this is the next crop of Redux that did come out, including Justin Tucker right there with the 92 overall kicker card. No power up yet for Tucker, so interesting to note there for him. But yeah, Reduxes are out. So if you want one of these dudes that you need it for your theme team, they should be a decent price, not 6, 7, 800K, hopefully, depending on how many people have pulled packs. So just keep in mind, Redux, another overall escalation could be coming. I think what we want to base our overall escalations around is team of the week here. You see we went up to an 89 there, I believe the week previous it was 88. So I think team of the week is kind of the standard of standard overall escalations. Also here too, I think limited as well. So keep that in mind there as we progress forward. Most feared part 3. Now this is the part that was leaked. JC Horn was an LTD and he's nasty. Really good cornerback. T.Y. Hilton's also pretty solid. If you didn't buy him when he was super cheap on Saturday night, then you might be a little behind here. By Sunday night into Monday, going into the week, he's probably going to be more expensive as time goes on. But if you bought him for pretty cheap, you could probably sell him back in a couple weeks for relatively solid price, I'd say. Use check here, one of the heroes or the champions, whatever you want to call them. Jair, one of the champion sets. Aaron Donald, probably the best out of this release 3. Jair's pretty solid as well. Use check's just going to be a good fullback, consistent. We're not going crazy about a fullback. DK also solid, but just got Moss, and then we also have Brandon Marshall, so it's a real weird timing for him. Then we have the heroes here, Jordan Poyer right there, Ryan Jensen, Logan Ryan. I added him to my team just to compare him and Jeremy Chin from last week, and Logan Ryan does not even compare at all. And I know I could put Giants theme team, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that right now. It's too early for a theme team in my opinion, unless you're rolling in the coins, but he just does not compare to Jeremy Chin at all. Keenan Allen there, Preston Smith, Josh Jacobs, Devin Bush, and Everson Griffin. If you still are undecided which 90 to pick out of this group, Poyer's pretty good. Jensen's going to be a good solid lineman. Logan Ryan's all right. The rest of the dudes are just solid. Devin Bush is fast. Everson Griffin's good for a right end option, so it's not bad at all. Going on to legends here, also the part that was leaked, but Plaxico Burress, man. Let's go. He's going to be added to the team either this week or next week. You guys know how I operate with legends. I don't get them right away. Usually give them a week or so to marinate, let the price kind of simmer a little bit, let other stuff come out that'll decrease the price. So we'll get Plaxico on the team sooner rather than later, but he's awesome, right? 92 speed, 92 catch, 93 spec catch, 93 medium route running, or 94 medium route running, 93 deep route running on his LTD, aka his card fully powered up all the way through. So if you're a Jets, Steelers, Giants theme team, well, his card comes with Giants chems on it. But if you power him up all the way through, these are pretty much going to be his base stats. This is also his LTD that's out there. I wouldn't suggest buying it at this point unless you get a really, really good price on it Sunday night. But that's Plaxico. Really good, tall, big, strong receiver. It's another solid receiver for the Giants theme team. And then Troy Polamalu. I wouldn't suggest him. I saw him play in a couple teams. He's short. He's tiny, so having him out there just trying to jump for interceptions, even with Acrobat or Lurker, is a tough scene. But he's in the box. If you like him in the box, he's speedy, he's fast, he can get to the running back really quick. So, it just depends on how you play. But Troy P here with 92 speed, 93 hit power, 93 zone, 88 man's a little lacking there, but he's a strong safety. He's usually in the box, so I wouldn't suggest putting him out in coverage. He might be good as a zone safety, but again, he's short, right? Like I wouldn't put him over like a Sean Taylor, for example, who's super tall. So Troy P. Cool. It's a good weekend though. Names, right? Solid names. Can't complain at all about the names. So that's pretty much it here for the MUT recap in terms of using the little newsletter here. So shouts to the newsletter for that. So we'll switch over to the game real quick before we close things out. I know I'm under 20 minutes. It's great. I'm gonna go over my notes. Superstar KO reward this week, or this past week, it was Aaron Donald. So remember, if you go into Superstar KO, check it out every week. What you should be able to see is that the reward will pop up. It's either going to be one of two things. It's going to be a MUT item, whether that's a card of a certain overall, and then that card just doesn't really do anything. It just stays on your team. You don't have to quick sell it, or the only thing to do is quick sell it. You can't put it in a set, or it'll be some sort of cred option, not training option. It'll be some sort of cred option that you can go ahead and check out. I don't think I have a screen. This was Derrick Henry a couple weeks ago, for example, right? 87. That's how it looks here for Superstar KO. Usually you go to Superstar KO, and in the corner here is the reward. So on Monday, I'd say to check. It's probably gonna be cred for the yard, so don't get too crazy. But the next week, we can probably expect something for another Superstar KO reward. So going back into MUT though, just wanted to touch on that. The Redux, the leak from EA. Friday release was solid. House rules kind of an L. Legends were fire. LTDs on Sunday were cool, and solo for most field track. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have here. Just to close out on a couple things, just thinking ahead and going forward, it's almost harvest season, MUT harvest, Thanksgiving, whatever you want to call it. So I'd say over the next week or two, just expect some, maybe like a malaise of content, maybe like don't sit here and expect that we're gonna get bonked over the head with stuff. We just had a huge most feared release. I'd give this most feared release, I said it on stream, and we did stream over the weekend, actually last night, did a giveaway too. It was a good time, but I would say this most feared release, I give it an 8 out of 10 overall. I'd say there's some things that were weird. The morphs were kind of strange. The LTD choices were kind of strange too. I didn't understand why they were 90s and not like a 92 even. And they also go into the sets for the champions like Aaron Donald, but like you don't get them back out of the pack, so I wouldn't suggest putting them in the set at all, especially if you don't get it back. And it's a pretty valuable card, and you could probably sell it for a nice penny in a little time. So I think most feared overall was a W. I just hope EA continues the trend of making these programs W's. I think the objective list is a good idea. I think the amount of grinding we have to do for it is maybe a little tedious. Maybe we have to turn those numbers down a little bit, you know, instead of 700 tackles, maybe it's 500 tackles in head-to-head at the end of the day. Like, you know, you're only giving us so much of a reward here, so we got to keep that in mind. But yeah, I'd expect some of the same stuff. We already know the usual cadence. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is pretty much the big days for content, and then Saturday as well for Legends. The only things that get randomly sprinkled in that are always kind of changing every few often is the Friday releases for whatever big promos around. I wouldn't expect anything big this Friday. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we get bopped on the head with a quick little 2-week promo here to prep us for the Harvest promo, or maybe we could just get something random on Friday, like another Campus Heroes release. Who's to say? I wouldn't expect anything crazy. I would temper the expectations just to be a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday releases for content until we get news about Harvest, which I assume will be around the second week of November. So just keep all that in mind going forward. So that's going to be it for this video. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. We'll catch you next time. Peace out.